Good morning or good evening, everybody, wherever you are now in the globe. Welcome to my YouTube channel, the place beginners need to learn all the professional workflows. Today, we are learning how to recreate this social media design with the composition, the text, the placement of the text, the gradient on the text, and the background. Let's start now. Now, what is good about this design? The color harmonies between the greens and the blues, the gradient on the text, the whole composition. It can be divided into three stages. Like it's very close here, the the foreground here is blurry, and the midground would be with the main subject, the circle behind it, and the text, and the background would be with this image and all the other elements. Now let's recreate that. Let's press Ctrl plus N, this new document window. Now we are creating this for Instagram, so let's use the standard resolution for Instagram, which is 1080 for width and 1080 and 80 for height. The resolution would be 72 for anything that will be displayed on screen, and the color mode would be RGB. And let's press create. From this file we can copy this lower third because you can create your own, fill it with your own contact info. Let's press Ctrl C and let's press Ctrl plus V. Now we got that here. Now let's do the first thing is to separate the model from its background. Let's right click on the image you want to use. You can use any image you want. Right click, open with Photoshop. Now we get this. In Photoshop 2021 they have this awesome feature that you can remove the background. First of all, you should remove the lock here. Just click on it and you can have this option and press remove background. This feature can save you a lot of work by doing the selection and masking, and you can spend more time experimenting and being creative. Now let's convert this image to smart object in order to not to lose any resolution. Right click on the layer and press convert to smart objects and press Ctrl C to copy it and get back to our file and press Ctrl V. Now it's pretty big. Let's press Ctrl T to free transform and choose whatever corner you want, and let's press Alt to scale it from the center and scale it down, just like this. Now maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit big. Yeah, I think that is good. Now let's give it underneath this lower third group, you can name it. Now that's first thing. Okay, let's start with the background color. Let's press here and press solid color. Okay, now we can choose a color for the background. Let's choose a light color similar or close to this. Yes, I think that is good. Maybe this. Okay, now let's add some texture to the background. I have a couple of texture I will use. You can use your own or have the similar look or feel. How we can do this? We can go like file, place embedded. Now we can choose the file and let's choose this one. Okay, it's a paper texture. It gives a texture to the background. Let's press enter and let's change the blending mode to multiply. Yes, I think this is good. Maybe a little bit strong. We can reduce the opacity a bit. Okay, now let's get the other texture to use it. File, place embedded. Now what is, side note, what is the difference between place embedded and place linked? The first one, place embedded, whenever you choose it and save the file, it is going to save the file with this texture. So if you wanted to use it on other device or give the open file to another one to continue working on, when he opens the file he will find all the textures he need, but this will increase your file size. But this place link, it is going to be linked from the original image you have on your device. So if you share this BSD file with another one, or you opened it on another device, you will not find this image. This will make your file size smaller. Okay, now let's place embedded. Let's choose the other texture here, and let's make it bigger by holding alt and drag. Yes, something like this, maybe a little bit smaller. Yes, and press enter. Let's change the blending mode to multiply. Yes, it is giving it a good texture. Nice. Okay, let's reduce the opacity a bit. Okay, that is cool, I guess. Now the color of the background, or the background, it is looking like it's flat. We have to add some dimensionality to it, add some as if it's some light going from one direction to another. How we can do this? Let's create new layer by hitting this button. Okay, and let's press G for the gradient tool. Okay, let's choose the basics. Okay, black to white or white to black, whatever you want here, and let's drag like this. Yes, it is good, but I want it from the other way. Let's drag the other way. Okay, and change the blending mode to soft light. Yes, it is much better now. Let's see the difference. Okay, let's see the difference. It feels like there is some light coming from this direction, and it is getting a bit dark here. Okay, cool, I guess. Let's group this together, or maybe not. Now we are going to add some other objects. Okay, let's go back to the file. Now we are going to add this circle behind the subject. Okay, let's press U or click this icon here. It is the ellipse tool. Okay, let's press shift and drag like this. Yes, yes, it is right under the main subject. Okay, let's double click here on this icon here, and let's choose a color. We will go with this green. Yes, I think it is looking good, and press OK. Now let's add some dimensionality to this green circle like we did for the background. Let's create a new layer. Now you are familiar with this, and let's press Alt to create clipping mask between these two layers. You can find this icon or this shape here. Let's press it. Okay, now we have a clipped layer. Now let's create the same gradient we created for the background, but we are going to hold Control and press the layer of the circle like this. Now what we got a selection. How can this help us? When we use the gradient tool, it will be like this. It will be defined by this circle. Now we are working it from the other way around. It goes like this, and let's press Control and D to deselect. Change the blending mode of the gradient layer to soft light. Yes, now it is much better. Let's see the difference. It has some directionality. Okay, let's group this together by selecting the two layers, pressing one and hold Control, and press the other layer, and press Control and G to group them. Let's call it green circle. Okay, let's distribute it, some of it a bit in the background. Hold Alt and press on this, and drag. Yes, it is duplicated. Control and T, scale it a bit like this, move it here. Sorry for that. And another time, let's hold Alt, drag, Control T for transform, make it smaller a bit. Yes, to add some contrast in the size with the main subject and the circle in the background. Now, what we are going to do now, we are going to add the image in the background. How we are going to do this? Again, file, place embedded. Let's choose this image. Again, you can use whatever image you want. Press enter to confirm. Let's change the multiplying mode to soft light. I don't like it. Maybe stick with normal and move it underneath the textures layers. Reduce the opacity. Okay, and we can convert it to a gray black and white image. How we can do this? There is a multiple ways to do this. First, we can press create new filter here and choose hue saturation, make a clipping mask. Is you are familiar with it right now by holding alt and reduce the saturation. Yes, it is turned black and white. Okay, let's let's make it fading from top to bottom. Now at this we can create a mask, a layer mask for the image in the background by clicking add layer mask. We want it to fade from top to bottom. Top is 0 and bottom is 100%. Let's again use the gradient tool, press G or click this icon here and drag. Yes, okay, we want it the other way around. We can start from the bottom. Yes, it is a lot better. Let's group it, name it background image. Okay, let's drag it above the solid color. Yes, it is much better. Maybe we can reduce the opacity a little bit more. Yes, and let's move it a bit down to match the perspective of the main subject. I think this is much better. Okay, now it is in a distance. This is in the foreground, the main subject in the foreground and the image in the background. It is going to be a bit blurry, so let's add the blur to this image by go to this filter menu, blur, Gaussian blur. Now let's choose the suitable amount of blur, maybe around 3.5. Yes, I think it is good and we are going in the right direction. Yes. Okay, now let's add the sofa. The sofa in the foreground. It gives the design a depth, like it is something in the foreground and middle ground and background. Again, you can use any image you want, any sofa you want from the internet. There is a lot of sofas on the internet. Let's click file, place embedded and choose the sofa. Yes, make it, press hold alt and drag to make it bigger. Okay, let's move it above the main subject. Okay, yes, it is looking good. Maybe a bit more bigger. Okay, maybe this is good. Let's add some Gaussian blur to it. File, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, maybe a little bit. Yes, I think this is good, but okay, it is a bit lighter. It's not looking good with the whole image. We can make it a little bit darker. How we can do this? There's a multiple ways to do this, but the best way I prefer is to add a level filter. Click here and choose levels, and again hold alt and create a clipping mask for this layer to affect only this layer, and Yes, let's drag it down a bit to make it darker. Yes, it's a little bit not noticeable. Okay, maybe move the sofa a little bit down to not interfere that much with the main subject. I think we are going in the right direction. Okay, there is a bit of a contrast here between this main subject and the sofa. So we want to blend it a bit more. How we can do this? We check the main subject. Let's rename the layer main subject. Okay, and let's create an empty layer above it. Create clipping mask. Now you are familiar with this. Let's press B for a brush tool. Right click, choose a soft round brush, and let's choose the black color. Okay, or maybe a little bit dark. Maybe a color similar or close to this. Yes, okay. Now let's make the flow 100% or maybe 70% and the opacity 10%, and let's give it some strokes. Yes, we are blending. Yes, looking good. We are blending. Okay, I think this is much better. Let's see before and after. Yes, it's not that contrasting. It is blending with the main subject. Okay, let's add the text. Okay, press. Let's do it again to know what I'm doing. Let's press T or this icon here and the type tool. Let's hold and drag. Okay, and let's write whatever your headline would be, but I will go with your headline goes here. Okay, now let's press Ctrl plus A to select all the text, and let's make it all caps by going to this character. If you can't find it, you can go to window and let's choose it where it is in the C's. Yes, character here. Okay, and let's choose this to make it all caps and make it bigger. You can choose any font you want. Okay, and let's make it this auto, maybe a little bit. Okay, I think this is looking cool. Now let's make it a little bit bolder. Okay, let's choose the bolder one. Yes, maybe this, maybe not. Let's try. Okay, I think this is cool. Okay, now it is looking good. Maybe we can move this to the right a bit. Okay, let's choose subject, main subject. Okay, yes, this is much better. And let's choose the green one here, move it, this, move it, and the third one, move it like this. Okay, now let's give it a color closer to the background but a little bit darker. Let's choose it this here and go a little bit darker. Okay, I don't like the font that much, so we can try a different one. Maybe this narrow medium. No, not looking cool. Okay, maybe condensed italic. Yes, I think we can go with this. Yes, let's press Ctrl T to make it a bit bigger and reduce the spacing between the two lines. Yes, okay, it is looking cool. Now, if you noticed, the text have this gradient lighter up here and darker up here, and let's do this effect. Okay, let's add an empty layer above the text layer and let's add a clipping mask. Okay, let's again hold Control and press on the text layer, press G for the gradient. Okay, now it is different. Let's change it to some of the basics, black and white. Let's move it from down to top. Yes, hold Control and D, change the blending mode to soft light, press enter, and now it is looking good. Okay, maybe you can change it. Your text goes here. Let's change it to this. Your text goes here. Okay, much better, I guess. Let's do the gradient tool again. Hold control, click on the layer, choose the above layer, G for gradient tool, hold shift and drag like this. Yes, much better. Let's group it together. Let's call it text. Okay, control T for transform, make it bigger. Yes, it is much better now. Yes, let's move it a bit up, and let's add the body copy. Go into this group, T for the type tool, hold and drag it. It will fill it with some text. Yes, make it smaller. Yes, reduce the spacing. Again, it is a bit bold. Let's make it some regular font, medium. Okay, change the color to white. Yes, much better. Okay, it's readable, it's contrasting with the headline. Now let's add the last thing. I think this is not balanced well. Heavy objects and subjects on the right, and on the left it's not that heavy. Let's add some elements. Okay, let's move it up a bit. Yes, much better. And this green one, let's move it above here. Okay, this like this. Okay, let's add the final element here. Okay, now we're going to file again, place embedded, and let's choose this light bulb. Hold alt and drag to make it a little bigger. Maybe move it down here. Yes. Okay, and let's give it a Gaussian blur, filter blur, Gaussian blur. Yes. Okay, I think this is good and matching with the background. Let's press OK. Maybe a little bit bigger. Yes, bigger. Yes, I think this is looking good. Okay, I think this light is a bit darker and the background is a bit lighter, so let's make it a bit lighter to match the background. We can do this multiple ways. We can add levels. Yes, create clipping mask by holding alt and click on this, and let's add this icon, drag to the right. Yes, it is reducing the shadow. Yes, I think this is good. Okay, last thing, we are going to copy this logo from the other file to make it exactly the same. Yes, Control V, your logo up here. You can choose to place it wherever you want. Okay, I think it needs some lighter here. It is not light enough, and I think it's not contrasting enough. So let's go back underneath and let's add an empty layer. B for brush tool, D to change it to the default black and white. It is black here in the foreground. Let's press X to switch between foreground and background, and let's make a little bit bigger, and let's okay. Yes, give it some strokes. Yes, I think this is much better. It is contrasting with the text. I think that is good. Thank you guys, that is all. Please like, comment and share the video, and subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more of this stuff. I'm going to produce a lot more content in the next days, so please subscribe, and thank you for your time. Bye.